Over the last month or so, we haven't heard a lot out of RFK Jr., our Secretary of Health and Human Services. He's been pretty quiet. And I was like, I think that's probably a good thing. Well, he had some thoughts yesterday after he and Sean Hannity went to a Steak and Shake to have an interview so that RFK Jr. could praise Steak and Shake because they said, well, we're going to switch to deep frying our fries in beef tallow instead of one of the seed oils. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's a whole segment of people on the right that have real serious problems with like seed oils, like canola oil, vegetable oil. I don't know why. They're fine with olive oil, thank God. But so they go there and they do an interview, and then and I don't know if it was part of that interview or a separate statement that RFK Jr. was like, back in my day, I'm guessing before that several year period of time in college when he was a heroin addict. He was like, back in my day, everybody got measles, and then once you got measles, you were immune from measles for life. And then he said, which is something that the vaccine doesn't do. First of all, the measles is the most communicable disease, the most contagious disease known to mankind. Second, from what I've read, if you're vaccinated for measles as a kid, you have like a 97% chance of never getting the measles. Those odds just aren't good enough for RFK Jr., apparently, because he very strongly suggested that everybody should just get measles. One kid's already died. One adult has died from that outbreak in Texas. And I think it was from Texas, somebody with measles who apparently wasn't quite sure whether or not they had measles got on a sold-out flight to Washington's Dulles Airport. They were on that plane for several hours. Then they were in the airport, getting their luggage and roaming around, and then they got on public transportation. They got on a bus somewhere or a train somewhere in an enclosed space. And after all of that, then they were actually formally diagnosed with measles. I mean, you remember during COVID, they were saying that, if you had COVID and were still contagious, there was like that number of people that you could infect. And it was somewhere around like 2 or 3 people. Like a person who has active contagious COVID would typically infect like maybe 2 or 3 people. With measles, it's like 19 or 20 people. And now RFK is like, our Secretary of Health and Human Services is telling the population it's better for them to get measles and get sick from measles than it is to get vaccinated from measles, because the vaccine only has a 97% effective rate. Oh, come on, bird flu.